morning, everybody. It's Jeff Goldberg for the Sales Pro Network. It is Happy New Year. It is Friday, January 5th. We're in 2024. I am so excited to be speaking with you. I'm really excited about this year. I hope you are too. If you don't know me, I am a sales coach and trainer. I work with both individuals and organizations internationally to help them do one thing and one thing only: achieve measurable and sustainable sales increases. And I founded the Sales Pro Network 3 years ago as a place where salespeople can hang out, network with each other, learn, and to elevate the profession of sales, and of course, put more money in your pocket. Every Friday at 10 a.m., we either do a live training about 5% of the time, 95% of the time, I bring you a guest who can add value to the profession of sales. And today is no exception, my friends. In fact, we were so involved in the conversation for the last 15 minutes that I almost missed starting the show. I'm really excited. We'll get to that in just a second. If you're watching us live, please say hello in the comments. If you're watching us live on Facebook but have not connected your account to StreamYard, it's just going to say Facebook user, so please include your name. And of course, if you have any questions for our guests during the show, put those in the comments too, and I'll pass them on. And finally, if you are watching us on the replay, please do put replay in the comments. And with that, our guest today is an award-winning certified professional success coach and take action strategist. I'm going to ask her about that. She's a radio show host of the Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Ann show, and she's the chief visionary officer and founder of LDC Strategies. Please welcome my friend, Coach Lori Ann. Hi, Lori Ann.
Hey, Happy New Year, Jeff. Thanks for having me on. Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a great New Year's. You started off really nice, and you're ready to set goals and take action.
Woohoo! Well, I'm really excited to be speaking to you because you're the perfect person to start the year off with. Before I get into the 1,000,001 questions I have for you, because I want to suck every bit of information and advice I can out of you, could you give us maybe the 2 or 3 minute version of your background, what brought you up to what you do now?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's quite the story. I used to be in marketing, worked in Fortune 100 companies, and I was in business and loved it. And one day I was at a company that I was leading a whole marketing department, and I just felt devalued. I was getting sick all the time. And I said, you know what? I'm done. And I walked into the president's office. I said, thank you for the opportunity. I put my access code card on his desk and said, thank you so much. I'm out. And I walked out, and I was waiting for like the world to crush down on me, to have a nervous breakdown, something to happen. And as I was driving down the Long Island Expressway on Long Island, nothing was happening, but this big weight lifted off my shoulders. So I knew I wasn't in alignment with who I am, and I wasn't able to do what I really was meant to do. And I found what I was meant to do is to coach. I had been mentoring and coaching my whole entire career, CEOs, the C-suites, those are your CFOs, and all kinds of leadership, always helping people to be better themselves and be the best version of themselves. And that's where I came into coaching. I studied with all the best. If you go to my website, ldcstrategies.com, you can see all the different people that I've studied under, from Jack Canfield, Tony Robbins, Joe Dispenza, Grant Cardone, anybody you can think of. I have in our field that's really, really high up there. I've studied with all of them to really get all their tools, have them in my toolbox, and use the best ones to serve my clients. So, and I love what I do. And taking action for me is the most important part of success. Is you have to take action. You could dream it, and you got to dream it. You got to visualize it. You got to have it, but you got to take action.
And that's what Coach Lori Ann and I were talking about, which got me sidetracked. We were talking about without action, nothing's going to happen. You can have the best of intentions and feel the right feelings and think the right thoughts, but unless you take massive action, very little, if anything, is going to happen. Good morning, Bruce Kasserman. Always good to see you. Happy New Year. And whoever says hi, Jeff and Lori, hey to you too. Coach Lori Ann, you have a ton of certifications, and you employ a wide variety of different modalities in your coaching practice. Some of them include, of course, life coaching, tapping, which I'm familiar with, aromatherapy, sound healing. And there was one that I came across that I was not familiar with.
Ho'oponopono?
Thank you. I was going to say, I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce it right, but yeah, Ho'oponopono. No.
Ho'oponopono. It's actually Hawaiian.
Ho'oponopono, yes.
Yes.
What is that?
Joe Vitale is one of the ones who founded, the gentleman who founded Ho'oponopono. It's prayer. And what it is it's almost like counting to 10, but better. And it's something to remind yourself. And you say, I love you. I forgive you. Thank you. and you just keep repeating that 10 times. I love you, I forgive you, thank you. You're not forgiving the other person, you're forgiving yourself for being so harsh to yourself, so hard on yourself. You actually do it in a room that you come into. It's a blessing. And they do that over and over again. And it's a really nice way to just take a pause. I'm all about the pause. And 2024 is all about the pause, taking that moment to just shh, everything going on. We don't do that because we were taught, our society teaches us, our education system teaches us, go, 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 go. If you're not doing, then you're lazy, you're not successful, you're not going to be successful. And it's anything but. When we're doing, and keeping this crazy, thing going up here in our brains, what happens is we don't give ourselves time to think and breathe and allow in all the greatness that we have, because all our success codes are right here. So Ho'oponopono is this beautiful technique that allows you to just take that pause. Tapping also gives you that sensation, but it also redirects your energy. And yes, very good. So, and all those modalities, I utilize them depending on who I'm speaking to and what they're going through. Our blocks, and we all have blocks, our blocks are hurdles, whatever you want to refer to them, happen between the ages of 2 and 12. So tapping brings us back to, it's okay, everything's okay, we're going to recenter ourselves. We carry those blocks cellularly, believe it or not. And there are modalities that I can send you to. I have power partners that I work with who can actually help you break those blocks. And I know one of my favorite guys, his name is Michael Klein. Brilliant. He does this thing called RIM and broke my block from, believe it or not, 21 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And set me soaring after that. The jumps and hurdles that I was able to leap after that, amazing.
I have to tell you, I love a coach who's willing to introduce their clients to other people. My coach, and she's introduced me to a psychic healer, which now I am a woo-woo kind of guy, so I'm into that kind of stuff.
Me too.
This woman made such a difference in my life in a 1-hour session, and I would never have met her if my coach hadn't introduced me. There's something else that you mentioned, though, that I'm glad you did, because I want to ask you about that. And I hadn't written this down as one of my questions. In my coaching practice, one of the things I will ask my sales clients, my salespeople and sales leaders, what's in the way of your success? And 99.9 times out of 100, they say the same thing: it's me. Why are we so hard on ourselves?
Because we're taught to be that way. We're taught to fit into a box. We're taught to stand in the line, sit in the seat, walk behind the little girl or boy in front of you. We're taught that. It's like, okay, if you fit in a box, that pigeonhole. We're taught to think that way. And then we're taught, oh, what are other people going to think? Oh, you shouldn't do that. That's not good. You're a bad girl. You're a bad boy. Don't do that. And we're taught that at a very young age. So now what's our inner dialogue going to sound like? Same thing. So I always say, stop being so mad, so harsh to yourself. Here's a way to tell what you're saying to yourself. Would you ever say that to a child or someone else? If you would not say that to someone else, if you would not say that to your God, higher power, if you would not say that to the face of whoever your higher power is, God, universe, source, then why would you say it to yourself? Because we are an essence of God, universe, source, right? So yeah, we speak so harshly to ourselves, and that's what gives us those anxieties. And it's like, what if this? And we're so fearful of failure because we're like, oh, you pass, you fail. Again, society has taught us pass and fail. Little kids, think of babies. Babies, they get up to walk, right? They get up to walk, they fall down, they don't go, Johnny saw me, I'm never going to walk again. They get up again and they try it again and they fall down again. And they rack their head and they cry and then they get up again until they succeed and they do it, right? So that's what we have as a child. And then we're taught these other crazy things that limit us. And that's the balance that I find that people are trying to find out. Like, to what point do we allow that freedom of individuality while teaching people that we need to be respectful of other people? So we can do anything we want as long as we don't touch another human. And I liken this to, I'm a Native American. Part of me is Native American. And I learned this very young. They have a ritual when you're turning, it's kind of like the bat mitzvah. They have a ritual that they bring the whole village out. They stand in a circle around the person coming into their teens. They give them a whip and they swing that whip around their head. And as soon as that tip, the very tip of that whip touches another human, you're responsible for how you touch that other human. That's such a beautiful message. And if you live life like that and the four agreements, I will tell you, your life will be beautiful. The four agreements, Miguel is brilliant with that. And it takes responsibility. It's going back to you, going inside where all our success codes are, going into the heart center. You notice if you're watching, you're going to see me pointing to the heart center. We really think with our hearts, not our heads. Our heads help us with the how, our hearts help us with the what. And that's all about goal setting and things like that. But think about how we touch each other. So that's, I believe, and in my experience and my research, I believe that's why we're so harsh on ourselves. And I say, change those tapes, stop being mean to yourself, start talking to yourself nice and kind like you would other humans.
Love the four agreements, and I don't want to go there right now, but I struggle with the don't take anything personally, but we'll leave that on the side for now.
Oh, yes, we could talk a whole day on that one.
But I loved what you said about, would you say that to a child? So I'm pretty good at this point about catching myself when I'm, oh, you're such an idiot, or you're so stupid, or something like that. I can quickly shift that. But I made a conscious decision when my three children were born that I would never, ever, ever say to them, you're bad, you're an idiot, you're stupid. I have said you're behaving poorly or you're behaving badly and it's unacceptable, but never, ever, you're stupid, because we listen to what people are telling us and it becomes our truth. A perfect example, I don't want to take a long time with this story, but Mike, you mentioned children when they're learning to walk. So my oldest daughter is Avery. Brilliant child. Well, she's not a child anymore. Brilliant human being. She went to the University of Virginia, graduated last May with a degree in aerospace engineering. Brilliant. I mean,
nice.
she was always exceptional right from the start. She walked early. She talked early. She was potty, just that kind of kid. However, when she was learning to walk, we all know, kids hold themselves up on a chair or something, then they stagger and then they fall down, like you said, they get back up. And my ex-wife, who's a great mom, and she's a dear friend, nothing bad to say about her, but she used to jokingly say when Avery would fall down, Avery, you're such a klutz, or if I was in the room, Avery's such a klutz, right? And it was just to be cute and funny. Well, guess what my brilliant daughter Avery thinks she is? She thinks she's a klutz. She's not, but I actually asked her, because I was putting together a program just at the beginning of the pandemic, and I called her up. I said, Avery, are you funny? And she said, funnier than you, Mr. Comedian. And I said, are you smart? She goes, smarter than you, Mr. Smarty Pants. I said, are you graceful? She goes, Dad, you know I'm not. You know I'm a klutz. So we got to be very careful about who we listen to, including ourselves. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And hats off to Avery, and to you for doing what you did. Funny thing about unacceptable behavior. So my son, Peter Vincent, was going to school, to kindergarten, and I get a phone call from Celeste, his teacher. Love her. Shout out to Celeste. She was an extraordinary kindergarten teacher, and she gives a call and she goes, I have to tell you the story. So another child was doing something, and my son said to the other child, that's unacceptable behavior. And she goes, who says that in kindergarten? She was hysterical that he used that language. And she says, I know you, Lorianne. She goes, that's you. He was emulating what you say to him. And I said, yeah, well, that's how I speak to him. I speak to him like a little adult. And that it was unacceptable behavior. And she goes, he wasn't wrong. But the other child was like, what? And stopped them in their tracks. So yeah, languaging is important. And how we talk to our children is important. But we also need to make them aware that they're part of a community. We're part of a community. And the important thing of that collaboration is that we need to treat each other with respect and love. And if we come from a place of love, we're always going to receive that back, and I think that's where you and I connected. First of all, you're hysterical. All right. So comedian, yes, absolutely. Matter of fact, as a salesperson who solves sales problems, and you infuse it with humor, that makes it even more desirable to work with you, because you just make us laugh, and you make us laugh at ourselves and at the silliness that we all do. And I laugh at myself every day. Believe me, I've changed those tapes from beating myself up to going, okay, I just did a Lorianne, and I laugh at myself and then I fix it. It starts with awareness, right? You have to be aware that it's okay. It's okay to fail. Change that word fail. Put a little foot on the eye and make it fall. Because what we do is we fall forward. We have an opportunity to learn from that failure. That's how humans learn, from failing. That's why babies walk. They fall and they go, huh, all right, let's try that again. And they figure it out. That's how we figure things out, by failing. So failing is not bad. So as soon as we say failing is not bad and it's a good thing and we're learning from it, then we're going to succeed. We're going to take those steps to soar to success, right? But if we fail and we don't learn from it and we keep repeating it, like, Groundhog's Day, then we have something. Then we need to reach out to someone to say, why do I keep hitting my head against that same wall? And we need to be aware of it. As soon as we're aware, we can remedy. It's becoming aware. So self-awareness is important. And I'm telling you, everybody, for 2024, I'm going to challenge you. Look inside yourself. You have all the success codes. You know the answers. You know what you want to do. You're just worried about what other people think, and it's none of your business what anybody else thinks.
Love that. I love acronyms, and I came across a couple on your website that I was unfamiliar with. What's an MTP and what's a BHAG?
Oh, I can't say that live. It's basically a bad, hairy ass goal.
Big hairy ass goal, right?
What?
Bad or big?
Big hairy ass goal. Yeah. It's just like, whatever it is, dream it huge, ginormous, huge, humongous. And people go, oh, that's unattainable. No, it's not. Because then we do what we were talking about before the show, which is you do napkin math and you prove out how it is possible. And we can do napkin math together. That's what I do with my clients. I sit there and I go, I want to know your vision. I want to know your dreams. Don't look at the how am I going to do it. That's where we self-sabotage, in the how. Oh, I want to do this, but as soon as you put the however, don't even look at that. I want you to dream big and get your vision. And it's like a pizza. Jeff, think of a pizza. We don't eat it in one bite. We break it into pieces, right? We break it into pies, shapes, and then we nibble on it. That's how we attain our goals. We have to look at it as a whole, and then we have to back it up and set up a strategy and a plan, and then take steps to it. And I will say to you, if you do one thing a day towards your goal, one thing a day, challenge accepted, one thing a day towards your goal, you will attain your goal. Guaranteed. I will guarantee you.
Could not agree more. You call it nibbles, I call it baby steps, but exactly right. And if you do even one tiny thing a day, that's 365 little things. It's hard not to achieve your goal.
Yeah.
What is a take action coach and strategist? Tell us about the take action programs. What are those?
So the one I have that is a huge one. It's a 6-month program. It's Take Action with Jet Propulsion, which means we're going to do it lickety split. We're going to give you a nice, strong foundation. So you do have that self-confidence. You do have the awareness of what you need to do. And we focus on your goals. We do a laser coaching session, which is specifically to set up a strategy and a plan so you can attain those goals. We live in a gap. Where we are to where we want to be. That gap in here is where we do the work. That's where all the work happens. So in Take Action with Jet Propulsion program, that's where we're working. We're working together in there while also giving you success principles. So those success principles are things that you'd hear from Tony Robbins, from Jack Canfield, from Mary Morrissey. The list goes on and on, right? Those success codes allow us to set us up to take 100% responsibility. Listen, if I'm late, I don't blame the traffic. I blame me. I didn't give myself enough time. And next time I'm going to learn better, and I'm going to start a half hour earlier or 2 hours earlier, whatever it takes. I don't blame my government. I don't blame my mother. I don't blame my teachers. I don't blame, somebody calling me the wrong name. I take responsibility, 100% responsibility for my actions. And then that changes the outcome. So it's an equation that I teach you. It's really your power, your point of power is in your reaction to everything. So think of something that's happened to you, and afterwards you go, gosh, I wish I had done X. Had you done X, the outcome would have been different, right? So that's a learning curve. So we look at it as a learning curve. The next time you do X, you get the outcome that you're looking for. So where is our power? Right in our reaction. So we focus on that and take action. We give you success principles. You have access to me through an app called Voxer that I use. We do that laser coaching and 6 months of just yumminess, getting into a community of other action takers. Remember, 92% of us never take action. They dream, but they never take action. Only 8% of us are action takers. And those are the people I work with, action takers, people who want to take that action. But you also have to have 3 things. You have to have the desire to succeed, show up for you. Nobody else is going to do that. And you have to have the fire in your belly. If you have that fire in your belly to do something, then call me, because we're going to take action together. We're going to set up the plan and you will be successful. Guaranteed.
Nice. There's a lot of mention on your website about you working with leaders. Do you only work with people who lead others, or is everybody a leader in your eyes?
So ultimately, everybody's a leader because we're all role models. So if you change the word leader to role models, even if you're an employee for someone else and you're working with someone else, and some people are very comfortable, they don't want to own their own business. That's okay. But they can be the best version of themselves. But they're also role models to their coworkers and to people who are coming up. We have an opportunity wherever we are. We're here at this plateau. And I don't mean in a better place or we're better than anyone, but we're here and there are people here learning, maybe not as experienced. They're in a different part of their life. We have an opportunity to reach down to those people and pull them up. We do that with leadership. We do this by modeling how to be the best versions of ourselves. And then people gravitate to us and want to do that as well. So I think leaders is everyone. Everybody has the opportunity to be that leader. It's a choice, right? That's Women Who Dream. My chapter is about 2 choices. There are only 2 choices for everything that you're doing. It's either do it or not do it. It's either go or stop. It's either be stuck or unstuck. And it's a choice, and neither choice is wrong. And neither choice is a bad choice. There are no such thing as bad choices. I'm going to take that word out of our language. There's no such thing as bad choices. There are different ramifications. So if you do something that negatively impacts somebody else, it may not have as good of a ramification as if you do something that's going to positively impact somebody else. You're going to have a better outcome, right? A better ramification.
That's great. You say that the best boss is a deadline. What does that mean?
Oh, so if you're a solopreneur and you don't have somebody leaning over you saying, I need this by Friday at 2, you need to set your own deadlines and say, I need this for me at Friday at 2 or Tuesday or whatever. And the cool thing about deadlines when you own your own company is you can move those. They're movable. So nothing is set in stone. And I will say to you, set a goal, and then I want you to release it. And everybody's going to go, what? That doesn't make any sense. Think about it. If I set a goal and I hold really tight onto it, where is it going to grow? How is it going to grow? How am I going to navigate to what universe, God, source is going to put in front of me that's even better than I could even imagine, right? Right? So if I think about it, I visualize what I want, and then I let it free, and then I follow the navigation. We get things called nudges, whispers. I'm sure you being woo-woo, you've heard of this. People who haven't, you're going to see license plates that kind of confirm that you're going in the right direction. You're going to get a phone call out of the blue, coincidentally, no such thing, that is going to confirm that of what you want. Because you say, oh, I really would like to meet blah, blah, blah. Oh, so-and-so calls up and has a conversation with you and goes, oh, by the way, I want to introduce you to blah, blah, blah. How did that happen? Because you put it out there. You let universe, source, God know with specificity what you want. And then they go, okay. And they give it to you and they put it right in front of you and give you confirmations. I've seen billboards that I've driven by a million times that now I interpret it differently because it was a yes. And I'm like, oh, should I do this? Should I take this action? And the billboard just merely said yes. And I was thinking about that and I look up and I was like, really? That's a little big, but I'm taking it. I'm owning it. So look for those nudges. Look for those confirmation. My mother would always say, look up from the floor, Lorianne. Look out. Look out and see what the world is giving you. Don't look at your shoes. Nobody likes to see the top of your head anyway. So look out at the world and see those, listen for those nudges. Listen to the lyrics of a song when you get in your car and the lyrics of the song is like, he's cheating on you, blah, blah, blah. Listen to the lyrics of the song, just saying. Um, you listen to the lyrics of a song and they're like, go for it. You got to do this. You have the power. You're a champion. Listen to the lyrics. You're going for something, go for it.
I love what you're saying about go for it. I don't know if you're familiar with this leader, James Arthur Ray. Do you know him?
No.
Another top personal development guy. He was in the movie The Secret. I followed him around the country for months, a couple of years, by the way.
And did he put an OP on you, an order of protection, to stop that?
No. Actually, I almost went to work in his organization at one point, leading seminars. But sadly, he had a terrible thing that happened at he was in Sedona doing a sweat lodge and 3 people died, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, no.
But fantastic. I mean, I love his stuff. And at one point I was thinking, God, wouldn't it be great if James Arthur Ray would come and do the Sales Pro Network show? And my mind immediately said, there's no way he's going to do my stupid show. But you know what? I said, what do I have to lose? I wrote an email, got a thing back. I said, James probably doesn't remember me, but blah, blah, blah. And they wrote back, James absolutely remembers you and would be thrilled to do the show. And just because I asked, there he was.
If you don't ask, you don't get. And that's one of the things, I'm doing goal setting. I do it the first Friday of every month. Of every year. So the first Friday in January, I always do a goal setting, visioning, goal setting. And the very second thing after you set your goals, I say is share it with somebody. Share it with somebody. Quick story. Years ago, I was in a mastermind doing goal setting because I've been doing this for years, right? And there were members in the mastermind and we all went on our own way. And one of the things that I shared with everyone is, I'm a singer. I want to sing on Broadway. It's always been a dream of mine. I was that girl. Both of my parents were musicians. Both of them were teachers. My dad was the superintendent, but they were all musicians. I was surrounded by musicians. I had people that you could not even imagine in my house because they used to go to Westbury Music Fair. I don't know what it's called now, but they used to go there. And after the show, they would come to my house. So I would have, Maynard Ferguson and Diane Shore and all these really greats. Aretha Franklin was in my house. Who knew? I was little. I thought everybody's house was like this. But I was going through some things, and all of a sudden I received this phone call like 10 years later. And this guy was on the phone. He goes, hey, it's Michael. And I was like, hey, Michael, how are you? And he goes, do you remember me? And I was like, weren't you in the mastermind with me like 10 years ago? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, I remember something you shared with me. He goes, I remember you want to sing on Broadway. Have you ever done it yet? And I said, no, not yet. And he says, well, I'm working for Lincoln Center and one of my acts just fell through. They're an opening act. And he goes, I remembered you said that. And I remember you're a really good performer. And I kind of Googled you. I've been stalking you for a little bit. So I know you're still good. Would you be interested in singing at Avery Hall? And I'm like, what now? And so sure enough, I did that. I got to sing on Avery Hall, Lincoln Center, bigger and better than I could even imagine. It was amazing. And it was because I shared it. So I say, share your goals. Don't secret squirrel them. I'm a big secret squirreler, right? Share them, because when you share them with confidence, some people may think it's too big. That's them. That's their fears. Just go with it. Believe in yourself. Share them with someone else. I say share it with your bestie. Share it with someone who you know is safe, who's going to just be your cheerleader. My cheerleader is my girlfriend, Deborah, and my partner, Anthony. They're big cheerleaders. They don't understand half of what I do, but they're like, yeah, go for it, blah, blah, blah. And that's what we want. We want those cheerleaders who don't second guess it, don't put their fears on us, and say, yes, I totally support you. How's it going? And checks in with us. And definitely get a coach, and make sure that coach has a coach. If you don't have a coach with a coach, they're not coachable, probably not your best coach. And there are a lot of people out there right now who say they're coaches. So, and no disrespect, but if a coach has a coach, you're going to be a good coach. And I know you do, Jeff. And what's Nancy's?
Nancy wants to know, what did you sing?
Oh, so I'm a jazz singer, and I'm trying to think of the name of the song. It was an old standard, and my father actually did the arrangement for me. And it will come to me before the end, but it was one of the standards. It was My Funny Valentine.
Oh, great tune.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it was,
since we're putting out big things, doing stand-up comedy at Carnegie Hall, I'm ready.
Yes, yes. Well, I'll put that out there for you too. And that's the other thing we do as coaches. We have these circles of influence. We know all these people. My son always laughs at me. He calls me like the Kevin Bacon of coaches because he's like, you're like six steps away from anybody. He challenged me. He says, "Can you get me to so and so?" And I was like, "Let me think about it." And I was like, "Oh wait, I got a guy." And so I called the guy, and then that guy called his friend, and then his friend called whoever. And then sure enough, my son got connected with the person, and he ended up doing this. Really, he's a handsome boy. I have to say that he's my son, but he's gorgeous. And he did a layout for Ford magazine. So it was amazing. But he tossed it out, and I know you're the same way, Jeff. You're a great coach, and you connect people together with the people that we want. Being a connector, and they call me the connector. Being a connector is the most fun I have in what I do, right? And I love coaching people. That's when I'm in my superpower zone. I am the happiest. It makes me happy. That and singing, two superpower zones.
I'm with you. Nancy says that's one of her songs too.
Oh, Nancy, thank you for asking that. And I love it. I'd love to hear you. So drop in a link so we can hear you.
I want to ask you about goals. Is it too late? Today's Friday, the first Friday. Is your goal setting workshop today?
Yeah, it's tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. California time, Pacific, and 5 p.m. Central. Everybody else, you have to figure out your own time zones. That's too much math for me.
How will people attend if they want to?
They can go to ldcstrategies.com. They can mail me at lacasdia@ldcstrategies.com, or they can drop me a text, 516-983-3591. And I can also give you the link. If they want to just jump on the link, they can go in, sign up so that, they can come in. So we'd love to have you. It's a session where you actually do the work. You're going to walk away with a plan. You're going to walk away with your goals, and you're going to walk away with plans. I'm going to ask you to ask yourself in preparation of setting goals, even if you don't attend, I'm going to ask you 4 questions, and I'm going to ask you to write these 4 questions down. What is the current vision you have for your life? That's the first question. What is the current vision you have for your life? The next question is, what do you really want? What do you really want? Nobody else is involved. And I don't want you to think about the how. I just want you to think about the what. What do you really want? What does success look like and feel like to you? What does success feel like and look like to you? And the last one is, what goals would you pursue with passion if you knew you couldn't fail? What goals would you pursue with passion if you knew you wouldn't fail? Ask yourself those 4 questions. Start marinating in that, and then sit down and write your goals. We go over 7 areas of your life, our personal life and our business life. We can't separate it. We have to think of it as a whole, and we just have to write those down. I really want you to start thinking about that. And right now it's 50,000 feet, and then we'll dive down into the grass, and we'll get really into the weeds on how we're going to take those steps. But you got to start with the vision.
Got it. If you'll email me that link after we get off this, I'll post it in the Sales Pro Network.
Absolutely.
So everybody can see it. And over the last few weeks, lots and lots of people set New Year's resolutions. What's the difference between goal setting and a New Year's resolution, and why don't New Year's resolutions stick?
One, New Year's resolutions don't stick because, one, they're usually too big. I want to lose 100 pounds by February. Yeah, that's not going to happen. They're not realistic. They're not attainable. And also, we haven't set up a strategy and a plan to attain them. We just say them. It's like, this is what I'm going to do. But we don't set up a new habit. We don't set up, what's that structure going to be? We need a strategy and a plan. And so our purpose is our why, right? But a goal is the what we want. Right? So there's the difference. And a goal, again, will be attained to a how much by when. A New Year's resolution is just something that we say. And so, again, I think it's 87% of the people, is the statistics, are failing, are not successful with their resolutions because they don't make them attainable. There's no plan behind it, and they don't have set actions. And if you want to take actions, you have to have a plan. We don't build a house without plans. We don't go on vacation without a plan. So we need a plan to be successful for our goals. So I say change New Year's resolution to setting your goals. And that's why I do it the first Friday of every year.
Got it.
And by the way, it's never too late to do a goal. I don't care if it's August. I don't care if it's October. I don't care if it's December. Do it. Set goals. I can't tell you how many people come into my goal setting who has never set a goal in their life.
I'm not surprised because I can't tell you how many times I run into salespeople who don't have a specific financial goal. And I'm with you. You should have goals in many areas of your life. But if you're in sales, there needs to be a financial goal and a plan to get there.
Well, how do you know if you're being successful? How do you know if you're attaining it if you don't have your own litmus test is what I call it. So how do you know what's working, what's not working? Because you don't have it's like a football team. You know, when Patrick Mahomes throws the ball, he knows which way he's going. He knows he has to get into to the goal area, right? So he knows what he has to do, and now he knows he has to take those steps to get there. So it's the same thing with our goals for our life. Whether you want to do it for business or your personal, whatever it is, you got to set that goal.
Yeah, well, Dr. Maxwell Maltz in the book Psycho-Cybernetics, he says we're born with a success mechanism in our brain. In other words, we pop out of the womb born to be successful, but the success mechanism needs something to focus on, otherwise it's wasted. And what it focuses on is the goal.
And that's why I say our success codes are inside, and we need to look inside. We need to follow our intuition. We need to follow what makes us happy. When you're in your happy place, when do you lose time? When is it, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's 7:00 at night already? That's when you're in your happy. That's your superpower. When you're trying to figure out what your purpose is, when do you lose time? That's your happy place. Don't worry about the how am I going to make money. Figure out the what I want to do and what's your purpose and how am I going to serve other people. And I guarantee you, when I did that, that's when I soared to success. That's when things started coming. That's how I got my radio show. Now I have a TV show. Now, so that's how, and the more people I can reach, that's what I ask for. One of my goals is reaching 1 million people so that they can feel the way you and I do. We're happy all the time. We have it's not because we're taking too much caffeine. It's because we love life and we're doing what we love to do and we're helping positively impact other humans. How wonderful is that?
Very wonderful. And I can so relate to what do you do where you have no concept of time. So when you do stand-up, you're given an amount of time. You do 7 minutes, do 10 minutes, whatever it is. If you're a headliner, do 30 or an hour. And, I'll get up and do 7 to 10 minutes. And every single time I get off on the stage and I go, wait a minute, that felt like 60 seconds. I mean, how could did I really fill up 10 minutes? I mean, because I have no concept of time because I'm just in that moment. I'm lying a little bit. I do have to be conscious of the time because producers want you to be exact. When they say 7 minutes, they don't want 8 minutes and they don't want 6 minutes. So you have to be conscious of it, but it doesn't feel like that time is passing to me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like doing shows like this. When I do podcasts, radio shows, when I do my own radio show, the time goes by really quickly. And guests often say to me, oh my gosh, that time went by fast. And I was like, yeah, because I had you in your superpower. You were in your happy place talking about what you love to talk about and sharing with other people. So it's great. So I'm in my happy place because you got me talking about what I love to do. You have me talking about how I can help other people. And again, when I listen to your comedy and when I listen to you, you're so inspirational. And I'm telling you, all your listeners, it's a gift that you give them every Friday that you do this. You give them a gift and sharing yourself. You're so selfless and you've been so kind. We only met in the summer. And I got to tell you, I feel like you're a brother. And I really feel like you've positively impacted my life in such a wonderful way. So I thank you for that. And I thank you for always being so open and giving and allowing me to be here with you and your listeners.
Well, I wish you and everybody who's listening to this right now could feel the warmth in my chest right now. Thank you so much. That was truly kind. And I feel you. What can you tell us about chocolate chip cookies?
Chocolate chip cookies? They're my favorite.
Yeah.
They make me all warm and fuzzy. So I love chocolate chip cookies, but I don't know what you're getting at. So.
I read something, I believe it was on LinkedIn, that you posted about cooking cookies and having a party and them being warm and stuff. You don't remember?
Oh, chocolate chip cookies. Yeah. So I feel like life is like a chocolate chip cookie. Chocolate chip cookies obviously are my favorite cookies. And when you're cooking them, you ever go in someone's house and as soon as you walk in, the smell reminds you of grandma, reminds you of warmth, or reminds you of getting those cookies when you come home from school, if you had that kind of a family. And that's what we want to bring to everybody's life is that chocolate chip cookie moment where we just want to be warm and surround ourselves with people to make us feel that warmth, to feel that positivity. And if they're not positive, I will ask you, let them fall to the wayside. Let them, not be in your life. They no longer serve you if they're not making you feel like that warm chocolate chip cookie does.
Yeah, I don't think they're around anymore, but there used to be Mrs. Fields cookies, and you'd go into the store and it smelled so great. And you get the cookie and it was still warm and it's gooey and just beyond
It's
belief.
gooey, it's warm. There's so many, and so whenever we're setting goals too, and wherever we're having, if you want to be successful, we use all of our senses. So you taste it, like you'll actually walk into a house and smell something and go, oh, you'll have flashbacks to your mom or to a childhood memory or to something so yummy, and you just get that warmth in your heart. You feel it, you smell it, you taste it. That is what we're talking about, and that's how you should feel every day, and aspire to feel every day. Now, yeah, we all have challenging days. Don't think that Jeff and I don't have our challenging days, but we look at it with a different set of lenses, and it's like, okay, what am I supposed to learn here? What am I supposed to learn from this challenge, and how is it going to make me better? Because the challenges are there to make us better, and we're ready to be better. So if we look at it that way, as opposed to something that's going to pull us down, and we look at it as a way to lift us up, you will change your lens and see it a different way. Trust me.
Love that. I not only love that, but I also love sushi. And I know what wasabi is, but what is wabi sabi?
Oh, wabi sabi. You have to go to my website to read the story about wabi sabi. But wabi sabi is, again, putting yourself in a position where you're really serving others, and where you're putting yourself in, and you're making sure you surround yourself with goodness. So wabi sabi is a state that you should be in. But if you really want to dive deep, we don't have time really to go into all of it. Go to the website, look for wabi sabi, and you'll find it.
That.
Yeah, you really did stalk me, Jeff. I love it.
So I got to have questions. I mean, you and I actually could just BS for an hour easily, but I like to be prepared. Tell us a little bit about your radio show, Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne.
Oh, Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne was something that was a gift to me. I can't even tell you how it really came to me. I just know John Caracciolo came up to me and he said, I would love to have you have a radio show. I adore him. I was like, I would love that. And I said, but I want to be able to lift up other businesses. I want other people to be exposed to all these different modalities I'm exposed to, and other people doing wonderful things so many times. And I said, and it has to be positive. So many times we're infiltrated with all these negative thoughts and negative things and bad things happening in the world. And I didn't want anything to do with that. So what I do is I bring talented people like yourself onto, and you've been on a couple times, I think. And one time you'll be back this year. But I bring people on to lift up their business, talk about their business, let us know what they're doing, let us know this greatness and what they're bringing into the world. And you'd be amazed at, the yummy goodness that you get out of all the conversations and people's perspectives and things that they do. And I learn so much myself on the show, like I'm sure you do, Jeff, from your guests. And I love having people on. So if you have a business, or if you have something that you're doing that you want other people to know about and lift that up, a not-for-profit, whatever, you just come on my show. We love it. I have a guest forum on my website, ldcstrategies.com. And you can go on to Healthy Lifestyle tab and you'll see guest forum. Just fill it out and the staff will invite you on, and we'll have a nice conversation, and gives you nice assets to also put on social media as well.
Yeah, one of the things I loved is, like you, I do a lot of these, and so many times the host is all about themselves. You're such a generous host, and you really allow the person you're interviewing to be the star, and I appreciate that.
It's about that.
I'm just like in sales, it's all about them, not about me.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm also a John Caracciolo fan. I love his company, JVC Broadcasting, and his beautiful outdoor amphitheater out on Long Island. I've worked with his team more than once. He's funny and smart and just a good human.
He is brilliant. That man is brilliant. If you knew his life story, he is brilliant. And he has other things in the work. That's great. He has a streaming thing going on, and he's a brilliant man. So if you don't know him, stalk him, get to know him, just Google him. He's great. BBC Broadcasting is great. The whole team over there, the whole staff over there, my producer is outstanding. It's just so good. Joe Adelman is, he's there. He's all about, all the shows to make sure that we produce really good content. And John is really, really thoughtful about what he puts on his radio shows and his radio, stations. He has many. He has them down in Florida and also up in New York.
Yeah, very successful. And just also, I love his brutal honesty. He was one of a handful of people that reached out to me several years back when I was spending a lot of time on Facebook arguing with people about politics. And he said, man, first of all, you're wasting your time. And second of all, you're turning off half of your audience. So just
Yeah.
stop doing it. People are saying to me, what's with Jeff Goldberg? So, sometimes you need somebody that you respect like that to say, what the hell are you doing?
Those are the people you want in your life. You don't want the yes people, because I could do that in a mirror to myself. I want people who are going to tell me the truth kindly, but tell me the truth. And John will. And he has a way of doing it. It seems a little brutal, if you will, but he does it with a kindness that just softens it. And he's right. He's right. Like I said, smart man, really good observer. We want more people like that who tell the truth. Just tell me the truth. Because what happens when you don't, and you just tell people what they want to hear? That doesn't serve them. What happens is it pushes them farther back than where they are. If you tell them what they really need to know, and you're honest about it and kind about it, they can make better decisions. Again, it goes back to awareness, right? They can make better decisions, and that will bring them forward, not push them backwards. So you're doing a disservice when you're not being honest with someone. But again, you can do it kindly. Be gentle.
Yeah, he was brutally honest with me, but I knew, not guessed, not felt, knew it was coming from a place of, I love you and I want to help you.
Yeah.
As opposed to, don't be an idiot and like that.
Yeah, it's intentional. It's you have to look at the intent. Why is somebody telling me this? Look at the intent on it. And also, just to circle back to goal setting, be very intentional about what you do in your life every day. Be intentional. When you're intentional, yummy things happen. When you're not intentional, things kind of spiral out of control. So be very intentional about what you do. Be very intentional with your thought. Read the book 4 Agreements. That will help a lot. And yes, learning not to take things personally, and learning not to make assumptions. We do that so well. Oh, well, blah, blah, blah. If you don't do that, you'd be amazed at what happens. So pick up the 4 Agreements. It's a very small book. It's a quick read. It's on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle, paperback. I have it all different ways. Actually, it's one of the first books that I have all of my clients read. If they haven't read it, that's the first book I have them read. Then I have them do Simon Sinek's Why. Start with why. And then there's a litany of books after that. I have a book club that if you want to join, but my book club is a little different, because we read the books and then we take a month pause to apply what we learned from the books. So that's what a lot of people do. They read all these books, but they never apply what they learn. So it's about applying. It's about what? Taking action. So we take action with all the books that we do as well.
Yep. You say that sometimes, and you just kind of alluded to this a little bit, sometimes what holds us back from success is that we're surrounded by non-believers. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? And what do we do if we're surrounded by people who are less than supportive?
Well, we need to get a new room. We need to surround ourselves with people who are supportive. We need to get that. So I don't know if anybody has gone they've gone to retreats or gone to one of these, I call them lovingly drink the Kool-Aid kind of meetings, where we all get together and we're all on the same team and we're all doing the rah, rah kind of thing. And you get that energy and you love it. And you're like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And you get all riled up. And that's what the point of those meetings are for, right? But then when you go home after those retreats, then real life comes in, and I do air quotes to that. And now all those people who are like, how are you going to do that? That's not possible. How, you can't change all those habits. And then we have our own voices saying, oh, how can we do that? So we kind of self-sabotage, and then we allow some of the people around us. Remember, the people around us, they love us. They have good intention. Mom, dad, our spouses, our partners, our significant others, our family members, our friends don't mean to be negative. It's just really what you're listening to. And if you listen this way, it will change how you receive it. You're listening to their fears. They're fearful you're going to not succeed. And so they're trying to be good about helping you not succeed. But what they're thinking about are their own fears. And so if we're aware of that, we go, and we do it anyway. And so I want you to just think about that, is when somebody is trying to, and you have that fire in your belly to do something, and someone's saying, well, what about this? And what about that? The answer is, what about that? Take it into consideration and then say, thank you very much. And send it on its way. Put it in the corner, put baby in the corner, because it doesn't serve you. If it doesn't serve you, you're not in your purpose. If it doesn't serve you, you need to change the people around you. You got to have at least one or two people who you can call up and they're cheerleaders. You want that cheerleader to go in there and go remind you, get a coach, get a coach. They're the accountability person. Those coaches are going to be the people who are going to keep you in the zone. And that's where you're going to be. And sooner or later, what happens is you build your zone muscles. You build the being in your zone, and no one will be able to pierce that ever again. Even those same people who love you to death, who have their own fears, they're not going to be able to penetrate it because you're so solid. And that's why I talk about foundation. We work on your foundation and take action with Jet Propulsion so that you know that what you're doing is good and you're helping other people. And it's the intention of helping other people. It's why you're doing what you're doing allows you to stay in your zone and make it unpenetrable. And I guarantee, again, a lot of guarantees on this show today, guaranteed again, you will be successful.
Yeah, I love the rah-rah stuff, and I love the huge groups, and I've spent a lot of time and money in huge rooms. And you mentioned Tony Robbins. I'm a huge fan. I think he's brilliant at what he does. I actually don't like his sales training. I attended it once. It was not good, but his motivational stuff, and he's brilliant. But
it's a taste. Really you have to like that type of thing. I call it more militant. And if you like that, it works. But for some people, it doesn't work.
Well, I really never made any lasting changes in my life from any of that stuff. I love doing it and I always get something out of it. But what really made the difference, excuse me, is when I found the right coach. In just 1 year, my life went like that. Yeah. And my coach, part of her brilliance and what was, I didn't even realize what was going on. It was just conversations like this for an hour every week or two. And suddenly it was like, oh, wait a minute. That's changing. And holy crap. One of my favorite things that my coach said to me before I started working with him was, look, if you're coming to me to make more money, don't. That's not the reason to work with me. The reason to work with me is because you want to be the best version of yourself. But I'll tell you this, Jeff, everybody who works with me ends up making more money. Absolutely. And it was absolutely true. One of the most incredible things to me, and it happened like in the middle of a session with her, was my relationship with my ex-wife shifted in an instant from horrible, not hate you, but every conversation in my mind was, Jeff, you effing asshole. She never said those words, but in my mind, that's what it was. To me realizing that I was blaming her for everything. And there were great reasons to do that. But when I realized it couldn't possibly have been all her fault, and when I accepted it at least 50% my responsibility, in an instant, things shifted because it's so funny. I actually got off the call with Liz, who you know, and called Jackie, my ex-wife, and said, this is going to sound weird, but I've been working with this amazing person for the last year, and I just had this realization. I've been blaming you for everything, and I just want to apologize. I'm so sorry. I realize now everything was not your fault. It's at least 50% my fault. And in an instant, our relationship shifted from I hate you, and want to kill you, to there was a reason we got married and loved each other. We don't want to live together anymore, but better for us, better for our kids. Everything shifts in an instant when you find the right coach.
Yes. And that's one of the foundational things I talk about, is taking 100% responsibility and stop the blame shame game. Stop it. And the same thing happens to me, Jeff. I have clients come back and they're like, they thought it was their idea. That's how subtle it is in our conversations. And they come back and they go, I realized the thing that was the change was working with you, Lorianne, because that's what you do. You really are very curious and you help me think. And it's about critical thinking. It's about just thinking a different way and changing. You'll hear me say this all the time, which is changing their lens, looking at it from, and she helped you change your lens and recognize that it can't possibly be 100% somebody else's responsibility. You were part of taking the steps and then owning that. And owning it isn't painful. It's not diminishing. Owning it is actually empowering. It doesn't sound intuitive, but it is empowering. When I own my failures, when I own things that I didn't do right, when I own my good, bad, and ugly, it makes me more powerful. And then nobody has any power over me when you do that. So you picking up the phone is really a great thing. It's a great step. It goes back to making amends, right? It's like, I'm so sorry. And there's not a person in the world when somebody says, I'm so sorry, intentionally, sincerely, they're not going to say, well, I don't accept that. That's not true. They're like, okay. It also makes them go, all right, it wasn't 100% me, because don't you think they're doubting, was it all me? And they don't want to own it all either. So yeah, Liz is absolutely brilliant. I adore her. I think, and again, the right coach, just find the person who you fit with, who resonates with you, who makes you feel yummy and good, who makes you feel empowered and inspired. And that's, that's what I want to do. I have a client who came to me. She was working in a company for her company for 7 years. She made $57,000 by the 7th year, doing a really good job in a year. She worked with me. We changed a couple of things. In less than a year, she's making $300,000, and now her numbers are out of the woods. It's just forget about what her goal is this year. I'm like so thrilled that she's thinking it's a possibility, and she knows. And where there's possibility, there's opportunity. Where there's opportunity, it's absolutely assured that you're going to do it. So, and that's what I want you to all think about. And that's why we goal set. That's why we put them down in writing. That's why we look at it every day to remind us. That's why we do vision boards. I do an activation board. I call it an activation board because we're going to activate our minds, so that we visually look at that every single day. We want to review it every single day. Your most successful people review their goals every single day, be it on a vision board or be it written out. Doesn't matter to me how you do it. Do it. And it reminds you, it sets our mind to say, oh, I have to do this, to take that one action every day to get us to our goals, to be successful, even if it's one little thing. I like to do 5 things every day before 12 o'clock. That brings me closer to my goals. And every day after that, it's like free time. I could either go play or I could do more work. It's up to me, but it's free time because I did my 5 things. And one of the reasons why Tony Robbins' thing is overwhelming a little bit, he adds so many new habits. And I would say to you, start with one. Start with one new habit. Journaling, something in the morning, do it for yourself. Shut off the TV, shut off the radio, except if it's our shows, of course. No, I'm kidding. Just do one thing for yourself when you get out of bed, even if it's just praying before you actually put your feet down on the floor. Do the gratitude. In gratitude, we bring in goodness. So when we're in a state of gratitude, and I actually do a pause moment where we go into breath work that allows us to get into a place of gratitude and then do our goals, you'll see your goals will just fly in. So I really ask you that if you want to be successful in your New Year resolution, then do one thing and then have a plan to do that every single day. And you have to do it consistently for a minimum of 30 days. It's 21 days to create a habit, 90 days to create a lifestyle change. Some people will argue with that. Some people will do 75 days. It doesn't matter. Do it for a minimum of 30 days. And here's the rule to that. And I learned this. I'm a Kundalini yoga practitioner. And I learned this, you have to do it for 45 days, but if you miss one day, you have to start from day one. And I'll never forget, at the time, I wasn't seeing anybody, I was dating, right? I wasn't married any longer. I wasn't seeing someone, wasn't in a relationship. I was out on a date and I'm like, I have to do my meditation. And I actually left the date, explained it to him, left the date, went out into the car, did my meditation and came back. Because I was at day 37 and I was not starting at day 1 again.
It's too funny. I love the concept of that you're responsible. I think a lot of the things that I did through my life, I kept waiting for Tony Robbins to change me or James Arthur Ray to change me. And what I think I knew it kind of intuitively, but really became clear. My coach Liz didn't change me. She helped have conversations that allowed me to change myself.
Absolutely. Change starts with yourself. That's Gandhi. Change starts with ourselves. So if you want the world to change, if you don't like what you're seeing, look inside and change what you're doing, what you're thinking, where you're purchasing, what you're supporting, all your actions that you're taking. But yeah, you're right. No coach will change you. If a coach says, I'm going to change, no. We will guide you. We will show you the best version of yourself. We will give you the tools that you need. We will connect you with the right people. If you're with the right coach, they can give you all of those tools. And those are the tools. When I speak about tools, that's what I'm talking about. And that will lead you to where you're supposed to be. And oftentimes you're like, oh, I didn't realize. When you connect the dots back, Jeff, you saw it was Liz that helped you jump that hurdle, that made that big spiral. And sometimes you have great big aha moments, and sometimes there are a lot of little aha moments. But we as coaches, we live for the aha moments for our clients. I love it when someone has an aha moment. I love it when I get those text messages on my phone. It's like, you know what? And I'm like, yeah, I know. And so excited that you recognize you got it and you found success and that they share it back. Those are my favorite days when I get those shares back, that they're so excited that they have to tell me. And one of my coaches, Carrie, she's off the charts good, and it's just this yumminess. And I do this exercise because of her now that was so amazing. It brought me to tears, and now every time I do it with my clients, it brings them to tears. But it's very powerful and it's empowering, and it's things like that that we learn from our coaches that make us just, make us better. So that's why I spent the money that I did, hundreds of thousands of dollars, no exaggeration, investing in myself to have the tools to be better for my clients, so I can bring all those things and the best parts of what they have that resonate with me to create what I do. Same thing that you do, Jeff. And you just do it with a really good sense of humor.
Thanks. Well, we have to wrap up in a minute, but I can't help but share this with you. I think you'll appreciate it. In my very first session with Liz, it was via Zoom, and assuming most people don't know her, she's a very attractive woman. Besides being brilliant and
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
Great, she's just phenomenal. And I'm on this call, and about halfway through, I start crying. Not crying. I'm bawling. I'm just like, a mess. And I'm crying, and I'm like, fuck, shit. And she's like, what are you so upset about? I said, because, you're my coach and you're a beautiful woman. I'm crying in front of you. And Liz looks at me and says, Jeff, I want you to know something. At some point, every one of my clients cries. You just did it sooner than most.
Yeah, it's so true. They do, because we're being vulnerable, and we create a space to allow you to be vulnerable. If you can't be vulnerable with your coach, then you're not with the right coach. You need to be able to feel safe. We create safe space to allow you to be vulnerable and share all those things you're afraid to share with other people. That's what we're here for. And we hold you accountable for the promises you're making yourself. You're not accountable to me. My life still goes on if you do it or don't do it. We're just reminding you of what you said you wanted to do, and asking you the questions to figure out why you did or did not take those steps, or what was the outcome from it. So yeah, I get that. And yeah, they always cry. I was like, I'm turning into Oprah. It's like everybody keeps crying but it's because we're touching, the depths. We're touching those things that really matter. We're getting to that yumminess, and we're getting people back to where they were. Listen, I was told by a friend of mine, Kevin, he said, Lorianne, I would say to him, I don't understand. Why don't they get me? Why don't they know that this is not something I would do? And they said, Lorianne, you're imprisoning yourself. You're behind a wall. And he says, and he goes further, behind a wall, you have a moat and another wall. And you know what? He was 100% right. I imprisoned myself behind being safe, right? And not letting people see my vulnerable side, not sharing that I was upset. I always had to be so strong, so strong. That's the only way I'll be successful, if I'm strong. I was taught a long time, don't cry. Don't cry. And I'm a weepy, emotional, huggy woman. And I'm like, okay. The other day, my client tells me something. I'm crying because I'm so proud of her. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. But I'm like, I was so touched by the success that she was achieving. And I'm doing it again. I literally started crying because it really was, it's what we're here for. That yumminess is good. That emotion is good. So it really, it sounds crazy, but when my clients cry, I know I'm doing my job.
Absolutely. And I could talk to you all day, and I'd be happy to, but we are out of time. So before we go, there's a couple of things. And one of them is I'm sharing my screen right now with your contact information. But for those who aren't watching us live and who'll be listening on a podcast, how do people reach you if they're interested?
If they're interested, go to ldcstrategies.com. You can email me directly there. My phone number's all over the place. You can go to any social media platform. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, I'm there. And you can go to my radio show, Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. You can call me at 516-983-3591, or email me at LACasdia, CASDIA at ldcstrategies.com. And you can also go, if you want to look at the Take Action with Jet Propulsion program, you can go to coachlorianne.com. That is all about my Take Action program.
Okay, and if you want to come to Lorianne's goal setting workshop tonight. She's going to email me the link. I'm going to put it in the Sales Pro Network for anybody who is interested. And I realized about 1 minute before we went live that I had forgotten to do something to create a piece like I just shared with everybody for myself, because I've got something new for the year. So I'm just quickly going to mention it. I don't usually do a sales pitch on these broadcasts. So I've got a new group called the Sales Pro Insider Network, and it's going to be group coaching. It starts Tuesday night. It's at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're going to go for anywhere between an hour and two, and it's going to be twice a month. The first one each month will be with me coaching whoever shows up, and the second one will be with a guest coach. Maybe you'll come and do that for us one time.
Absolutely.
That would be fantastic. The first one on that's the 23rd, I believe, is Coach Suzanne Taylor, who's absolutely brilliant. She's wonderful, and so she'll be with us. It's $1 for the first month to check it out. If you don't like it, there's no contract. You can stop anytime. I would have had a link for you to go to, but I did not prepare. So if anybody's interested, just DM me through Facebook, or Jeff at JG Sales Pro is my email, or you can call me today at 516-314-9037. I'll be happy to tell you how to do it.
And I got to tell you, Jeff is the bomb. He's the real thing. You guys know that. You follow him. You already know that. But tell your friends and family. Don't keep this a secret. You need to share him. He really, really takes you down the right path, and you can't go wrong with Jeff. He's just soul, absolute soul. So, and thank you so much for having me. Happy New Year, my friends.
Thank you for being here and sharing your brilliance with us so generously. I truly appreciate you. And I will end as I always do, my friends. Remember that sales is a game of making things happen. So get out there and make sales happen. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you so much, Lorianne. I'll speak to you soon.